that if he wins the title, I'm the #1 contender.
Where you at, Warrior? Why don't you come on out here? I can tell you a few things about your precious Ultimate Warrior. I see why.
Uh-oh! Look out!
What about it?
Yeah, what about it, Warrior? You're so honorable. You're such a wonderful. Are you willing to grant the Macho King, should you win your WWF title tonight, should you retain it, will you give the Macho King Randy Savage a little shot? No. You know, I've been for a long time, Warrior. You know, I've looked into those great, big, beautiful hazel eyes of yours. And as a matter of fact, I've often looked at your lips and wondered what it would be like. And also, I've always looked at your chest and wondered what it would be like to touch your chest. In fact, I've often admired you from afar, Warrior. The strong, broad, wide back. And your hair, it's very wonderful. I've often wondered through your hair. So what's it gonna be, Warrior? Are you honorable? Are you brave? Are you gonna give the King a title match if you retain that belt tonight? Come on, Warrior, can't you talk to me? Come on, what's it gonna be? Come on, Warrior, can't you say something to me? Oh, that's the most wonderful, thrilling thing that has ever happened to me. Please, as I look into your wonderful face, the champion that you are and the honorable man that you are, I know that you would grant the Macho King his title shot. Come on, Warrior. Are you going to grant the Macho King a title match? Come on, Warrior. Tell everybody what an honorable man that you are. What a brave and wonderful champion you are, Warrior. What is it to you? Come on. Aren't you going to give the Macho King his title match? Just say yes to me. That's all I want from you. That is all I want from you, Warrior.
Yeah!
Okay, this is Steve Kern, and you're listening to the Turnbuckle Throwbacks with Phil and Jay, and that pain in the ass Choppy.
What this network needs, this network gets.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Broadcasting live from Shaolin, Staten Island, New York City.
Freak Show Central.
Where's that?
New York City.
It's the Turnbuckle Throwbacks Wrestling Podcast with Phil, Jay, and that pain in the ass, Choppy. On Rant EM Radio, proud member of the Shining Wizards Network and Dark Satellite Media.
Turnbuckle time. When you hear them coming, don't run for cover. Watching wrestling like no other. Turnbuckle time. Throwbacks from back in the day. Reviewed by Phil, Choppy, and Jay. They're American males. Turnbuckle time. Turnbuckle
That
time.
never gets old.
Turnbuckle time. Turnbuckle time.
Turnbuckle time.
Turnbuckle time. Turnbuckle time. Turnbuckle time.
Amazing. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Was it March the 19th?
Sure is. On repeat.
I'm not going to play it again. I can't play it again. March 19th, 2021, episode 398 of the Turnbuckle Throwbacks. Hello, everybody. We are live on Rant EM Radio, Rant Entertainment Media, part of the Shining Wizards Network, part of Dark Satellite Media, who, by the way, Jimmy Ferrari has slain on his latest podcast. If you guys are into like really good underground, I just wouldn't say underground hip hop, but not as popular hip hop. This dude from Boston's on point, man.
I know, shit.
Yeah, he's fantastic, by the way. He's been around for a bunch of years. All right, then. How's everybody doing? Oh wow, let's play. Let's play Jay's music for a second.
Oh, here we go.
Jay's in the building, and you know.
In the flesh.
In the flesh, baby.
No golf to speak of yet in 2021.
No, not yet.
Had almost went to go play the other day, but not enough time in the day as it normally comes. But I love that. I don't get to hear that too often, but hopefully soon.
Let's say hello to chat room Matt Squires. We gotta give him a sound bit.
Yeah, we got to get him something.
Hello,
Squires, send something through.
What's up, Gordon? What's up, my cousin Richie?
Anybody seen Richie?
Fucking Shaylin.
Fuck you!
And you know he's not here.
Yes.
He had to bust my balls today. This fuck. So it's for all you Catholics out there, it's St. Joseph's Day. And even if you're not Catholic, if you're it's in the 5 boroughs, it's a very, very popular day for certain pastries, 2 different kinds of pastry, right? So of course I get a delivery about 3:00 this afternoon of the 2 different pastries. And I'm like, yeah, Steph actually went to brought him to work with her, and she picked him up. So yeah, I grabbed you one of each. I'm like, look at you, you're the fucking greatest. And the thing with Steph is that she's a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She celebrates everything because of the kids.
Yeah,
like she already decorated for every time a holiday ends. She's already decorated. Like Easter is already in her house. Easter vomited today, probably in her house today.
Yeah,
So should I post that pic on the Facebook page, Phil? Yeah, you should. So I called Choppy. He's like, yeah, because Choppy doesn't like Italian pastries. He doesn't like custard. He doesn't like cannolis.
Well, he is fucking.
He's a fucking gypsy.
He is Portuguese.
He's Portuguese, and they have one good dessert so far that he's given me in 6 years. But I digress. So now I call him. I said, you know what? He goes. I said, hey, when you come back, we're going to celebrate Saint Jerkoff's Day. I said, you're gonna be Saint Jerkoff.
Saint Jerkoff's Day.
The patron saint of pains in the asses.
Choppy's a pain in the ass.
So what does Matt Squires do? puts Choppy's face on a saint's picture, like a Renaissance picture.
Oh, that is so awesome.
It's very Mona Lisa-ish.
That is
so
great.
All right,
St. Jerkoff. That's why I passed by Alfonso's, the Staten Island's famous Alfonso's
fine
bakery,
establishment.
and I was like, man, this fucking line's going outside the door,
bro. They have a donut, right? We have a mutual friend that introduced me to this about 2 years ago. A 5-layer cookie donut dipped in chocolate.
Yep.
It's about this big, and you can't eat all of it unless you're a really fat fuck. In the fridge, and like 2 o'clock in the morning when you wake up and you want a snack, you don't have to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna eat. But if you hang out and like today, there's a line. You know, there's a Saint Mook hashtag Saint Mook.
Saint Mook.
The name of the fucking podcast.
I don't know, man. I love St. Jerkoff's Day. That's great.
Yeah, Saint Jerkoff, the patron saint of pains in the asses. I told Chopper we'll get him a Pope's hat and everything. Yeah, man, absolutely. So, so I mean, and I said this the other night. I said I kind of like that you celebrate everything, and some people think it's annoying, but for me, when I had a house, I was doing that.
Yeah.
I don't have the house. And when I lost the house, it took me 2 years to put a Christmas tree up. I was just depressed. So like, I like, Valentine's Day went up.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day went up after that. And then like today, like, Easter's got to go up. I'm like, and it's like a schedule and it's all split up in boxes in her basement. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it just shows you how women are wired. Compared to me, I'm like, I'm even, I'm going through class. I'm going through RCIA where it's like to get my confirmation. I think it's make confirmation. I'm not too religious, sorry, but I got to do it in order to be my niece's godfather. So, same thing. Like I keep forgetting that it's Easter. It's the days go by.
It just sometimes it passes you by. Did I ever tell you the story of I have 3 godchildren? Right. I'm Landon's godfather, which we'll see him next week for his birthday. He's probably gonna get to have a fucking birthday.
I was just gonna.
I am godfather to my nephew Marcus, which is my sister's 3rd youngest. And then I'm godfather to Will's son Logan.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we baptized Logan, I had just baptized Marcus prior to that, and I was not Catholic anymore. I converted, but I made all my sacraments and whatnot, and that was requisite. You had to have all your sacraments, right? So I went to the church office. Now, Will lived in the complex off of Arthur Kill. Over there, it's something Crescent, Aspen Knolls.
Yes. Aspen
okay.
Knolls, yeah.
What's up, Jordan? Jordan's joining us today. And so he lived in the complex. The church was on the complex grounds, and so was the church office. So I quit being Catholic, and I don't want to get into a religious thing because when I had my first divorce, they wanted of $3,000, and I said, well, molest some more children, and I'll stop molesting children. I said, and I'll pay for that. So I converted, right? So when I went to the church, the priest was like, "What church do you belong to?" I'm like, I belong to the Presbyterian Church on New Dorp. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I've been there for about a year or two now." I said, He goes, "You're not Catholic?" I was like, "I made all my sacraments. I was raised Roman Catholic. I was a fucking choir. I was a altar boy for like 5 minutes, and I went to Catholic school till they threw me out in 3rd grade because they threw you out." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, I said, honestly, I wasn't a nice kid. A and B, my parents couldn't afford it anymore. So I went and it wound up benefiting me because I got skipped a grade. They weren't doing nothing for me. Public school said I was too smart, so they moved me. P.S. Guys like, well, maybe and I was still married at the time. It was maybe you might. Maybe I'll deny this. You'll deny this? He said, like, yeah, like you should come back to the church. I'm like, I'm good where I am, sir. He goes, why don't you have is your wife Catholic? I'm like, she was. She also converted. He goes, why don't you have her slip you like something and you drink at this party? Maybe you'll be. I was like, what did you just say? He said this. So now it's like 9,000 degrees. I'm in a 2-piece suit, right?
I do remember this now.
Right?
Yes.
So it's Sweeney's mother-in-law and somebody else, and he had a bodily pull me out of this fucking church office.
I do remember.
I almost committed a felony. I would have assaulted this fucking kid toucher, right? So I was so mad, dude. that they don't. And you know what's funny? It's like the Vatican's paved in gold.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever see pictures of the Vatican, like anywhere you walk, it's paved in gold. But yet we're bleeding money out here.
Yeah.
Churches are closing. Parochial schools are closing.
Churches are taking PPP loans.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That shows you
and
where
it's
we're
like,
at.
and it's like, listen, no disrespect to the Catholics. I was raised Roman Catholic. Jay's Catholic. Like, it's like, it's a hypocrisy.
Well, it's a hypocrisy in the sense of we're gonna, same thing with like you said. I'm actually godfather of two kids. My friend Samantha's stepson. He was 9 at the time, and I actually just recently reconnected with her. It's been a few years. We still talk, not bad blood, just time, life, everything gets in the middle of it. But she married. This was her husband's second marriage, and the kid was never baptized, so he's 9, and they had 2 children together. So they were doing a one-stop shop. They lived in Freehold, New Jersey. They called every church from Freehold all the way down to Rosebank and Staten Island. You're spanning Staten Island.
Yeah.
At that point, she was born and raised here.
Yeah.
They couldn't find a church to do it.
So it's unreal.
So this church, St. Mary's, a shout out to them. It's actually a really great church, and it's kind of where I'm living at now. I'm close to that church, and they were like, "Bring them on down, more the merrier." Like they're just going, "Hey, listen, we want we want
people, we want bodies."
Yeah, and this was a number of years ago, and I just remember saying to myself, I just go, "How is it that one church of the same religion saying no, but another church is saying yes?" So at that point, it in my head at least, it boils down to politics or money, and it's like, and you get it from both sides of the spectrum. If it's politics, they don't want to have a child that's been around, and whatever the case may be, whatever. So to me, it's just like it's a weird
dynamic.
It's a weird discussion.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just,
no, of course.
But now you got to do this.
Yeah, and I'm willingly doing it too. Because like you said, because even my sister said, she's like, we could just consider you godfather, have somebody step in for you. I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, Will's wife at the time, she was like, Phil, we'll just put your name on. I said, listen, don't fucking do me any favors. I said, I'm the son's godfather. I'm your son's godfather. I am his spiritual leader.
I want to do it. Like, and that's what it was. That's what it was for me. And it's also like, I want to do it.
Right. And in the Guinea culture, it's a sign of respect where, God forbid something happens to the family, you're next in line. Not even family, like godparents. Like, in the Guinea tradition, right?
Yeah.
Matt says the Vatican looks like it was decorated by Scarface and the Golden Girls. He's right. Where's Choppy's bell? Ding, 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 ding. You give me a water hose and I'll baptize the whole block.
That's it. Well, and it's even funny too. It's just like, and I'm an ordained minister. Like,
so is Will.
You know what I mean? Like, so like, how like there's a religion out there, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Like, it's a fucking legit fucking religion.
Listen,
like, I'm not saying it's all a farce, but why can't everything be accepted?
Yeah, we here at the Turnbuckle Throwbacks don't discriminate at all, and especially with the shit going on with the Asian community.
Yeah,
and the tragedy that went on. And I made a video. I forgot to post it. It's like, it just makes you. And we do. We do a lot of tongue in cheek shit here, right? But it's like, and if anything was meant maliciously, it wasn't. If your daughter was, I should say, right? And like, just to see that stuff like that still goes on in this country, and then the hypocrisy of the Catholic Church and the racism, the terror. It's terrible that people have
same-sex marriage. Yeah, we're the Vatican's demeaning it, but churches are standing up against it. Like, it's just like, at that point, just let like, it's got to be peace within.
That's the thing, man. And I said this, and I told this to my uncle. My aunt last night. If you're a good human and you don't break the law, you're not committing any felonies, you're not killing nobody, right? If you obey the law and you respect other people's cultures and shit, dude,
what is it?
Then you're all right.
Yeah.
Tony Z checking in from the Wizards. If my aunt had balls, she'd still be my aunt.
I know.
I posted a Facebook post last year. They were making fun of the COVID. They were making fun of the COVID-19 Asian. They were calling it the Hong Kong Asian flu. I took offense to it. I was like, listen, we know it came from China, But your mom probably came from the back of a Buick Skylark. We don't call her fucking. We call her Mary.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we should call her Mary Skylark, like Jimmy Ferrari said. Right? But like, just respect other people. Listen, and I come from a culture. I come from a generation that is just based on everything that's wrong, but hysterical at the same time. And I have no choice but to adapt. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, look who's watching. The Saint Jerkoff himself, Jay.
I love
Saint Jerkoff.
Saint Jerkoff.
The patron saint of pains in the asses, Mr. Mark Gasser.
Choppy's a pain in the ass.
Choppy's on location, by the way.
Chops. He's on assignment.
He's on assignment. So when he gets back, we're celebrating Saint Jerkoff's Day.
I love that. Saint Jerkoff's Day.
The day, I'm telling you, the day he comes back, the Friday he's back in the studio with us, we're going to deem it Saint Jerkoff's Day.
Whatever it is.
April 4th. I hope it's April 4th or 8th, whatever it is. But if you're a good fucking soul, man, what's up, Adam? If you're a good soul, that's all you need to be, man. Respect other people. We live in a city, Jay, with 14 million people, 200 countries.
That's all you need to say right there.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm proof positive of it too. You know, like I said, we ever went to church was for funerals or weddings.
Yeah, and Christmas.
Not even Christmas. My family forget about it. A bunch of heathens. But but like I said, but still, as life goes on, you realize, there's more than one religion. And they're all, especially me going through this class. Like, I don't know, I got my different opinions, but I think they're all. Everybody wants to be number one,
right?
That's all it is,
right? If you, no one, I would never knock anybody else's faith, man. And I know Muslims, I know fucking Buddha people, I know fucking Catholics, Protestants. I mean,
my like I said, Taba, who just celebrated a birthday this past Wednesday,
the Queen of Turnbuckle Throwbacks.
The Queen was relishing in all of her glory. She's born on St. Patrick's Day of all days too.
And my mom was the day after. We celebrated her last night.
Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah, man.
Happy birthday. Yeah. And it's Muslim, and it's just like it's the same thing. It's just like at the end of the day, we're all fucking people. Like, what does it matter?
I love, dude, when I started working EMS, like I worked my first real assignment, my garage was in Kenosha.
Yeah.
I met I worked with so many people, Caribbean people, Asian people, Spanish people. Like I just, and every time these partners, it would be we talk about food and countries and culture. And like if you invited me to your house, what were you cooking me? Like that was a conversation I would start with, because I can't have that barrier. I gotta be cool with everybody because I can't. I'm not a shy person,
Mm-hmm.
So it still has to happen that way.
What happened down in Georgia, right?
Yeah,
it happened. You see that, and it's, it's I don't know, like whatever's happening in today's world. Once again, a different conversation. It doesn't have to always go to it's a problem. It's just that there's people that are just they should not be. They have to be checked. They have to be evaluated. It's just insane people out there. It's not always a thing of color, race, greed, whatever.
That's just a mental. That's a mental deficiency.
Yeah.
It's not even a thought. Matt says Choppy's doing road reports from the Tri-City truck stops. Hashtag toot toot. We at Turnbuckle Throwbacks extend for everybody who loves pro wrestling, loves nostalgia wrestling.
Isn't that the whole idea of too? Especially with pro wrestling.
It's just, listen, I loved watching wrestlers when I was a kid from other places. Like when I was really from Hawaii. Even though he was born in Rochester, New York, I think, and his last name was Blood.
Yeah.
Speaking of Steamboat, last night we had a dinner for my mom in Queens. And my mom was getting all her gifts. She's getting flowers, chocolate, fucking it's my siblings, myself, and my mom, my parents, a couple of her friends. So we're hanging out, and so now the gifts are coming. Right, it's a big long table, fucking loud as fuck. Right. So now all of a sudden, my stepfather hands her an envelope, right, and she pulls out couple of who's on the $100 bill?
Franklin.
Ben Franklin,
yeah.
right? She pulls out can you do a throwback just on that cameo? Yeah. Well, I'm Matt. So my mom's childhood friend was standing in the middle of them and having a conversation. She goes, "Ooh, look at you, Daddy Warbucks." And he looks over and goes, "I had to compete with him."
Yeah.
And your gift to mom trumped everybody this year. I got my mom a cameo from Ricky Steamboat. But Steamboat, so now I paid a decent amount for it.
Yeah.
But I thought I was only getting 2 minutes. Jay, he gave her 13 minutes.
Get out.
And gave her a tour of his house.
Holy, what is he?
The trophy. Like, he dressed up in his garb, showed her, Phil was getting old. Benjamins. Come on. Biggie fans. All about the Benjamins, baby. Yeah.
Holy shit. Is Steamboat, no offense to Ricky Steamboat. I love Steamboat, but is he going through dementia?
No. He was just happy someone else paid that much for
I was just going to say.
But you're only supposed to get 2 minutes. So I sent him his email.
That's great.
I said, "Here, Rick, here's the deal. I do this show. I met you a few years ago with the Wizards at Legends of the Ring. We had the same table. The Wizards were vending him, right? Lane's in the house. What's up, Brain?
There he is.
So, Steamboat and Joel Gertner with the Wizards and my old partner Dave Powers, right? So, Augie, that's hot, buddy. Stay away from that. I got the radiator on over there. But anyway, it was like, he was so nice, dude. And I said, listen, my mom is a huge fan. Like, my mom, we used to go to Garden every month, watch you. It was like, and it would be cool if you just wish her happy birthday. And, and then he did this video, and I'm like, 13. When I first got the video, it wouldn't stop playing. I was like, the fuck? I'm only at 2 minutes. But
he gave you B-roll too.
I got my money's worth, man.
That's
because
great.
Let me tell you, now I tell my stepfather, like, I know her birthday's tomorrow, but I want to send it to her tonight. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
He goes, all right. As I said, I'm gonna put it on Facebook. He goes,
I gotta check this.
It's on the throwbacks page too.
Yeah, I gotta check.
He goes, can you put it on a disc? I'm like, a disc was 2021. You fucking geriatric. We don't use DVDs anymore. He goes, he starts laughing, right?
That is awesome.
Right. So now he sends me. They're at a diner or whatever. He sends me a picture of her, and she's like tears streaming down her face as she's watching this because he's talking to her.
Yeah.
Like, hi, Linda. Happy birthday. And I know you heard you're a big fan. You used to watch me back in the WWF days. Well, let me give you a little. And he just fucking went on and on.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was like, all right. So everybody's like, yeah, Phil, you had the gift. Because my mom is like this. My mom's bougie, man.
Yeah.
You can't get my mom like knickknacks or fucking. I usually just give her cash now because, like, what do you give her? She has everything,
Yeah.
I don't want no. She told me this on Sunday. I don't want no fucking knickknacks. I don't want no tchotchkes. I don't want no fucking little pieces of jewelry that's gonna, I don't. I was like, all right, Mom. I said, I already know what I'm getting you. So it's like I already had this plan for months. So we got Mom the gimmick. So Mom had a birthday. She loved it. And I did. That
is awesome,
right? And I was like,
about that. Kudos to Steamboat for going above and beyond. Like, he really is like the only babyface that's ever been a babyface this whole time.
He never went heel.
Yeah, and I mean, the cameo thing. Like my sister's sister-in-law got her a cameo from I don't know who it is, some shit. Some girl from there. It was like somebody that my sister liked, and like it was a very nice message. Like, it was a very cool. Like, my sister was pregnant at the time, and I think that girl just had a baby, whatever it was. So she was very genuine on the phone on the message. She goes, "Hey, listen, I'd love to hear an update from you, this and that."
Right.
So my sister, like, you see that, and you just go, "Well, you ain't fucking genuine." Like, the cameo thing is such a great idea.
Yeah.
And then you hear that, and you just go, well, that's above and beyond.
I got one. It was an old Minnesota Viking, and it was a kicker. It was a very famous kicker. He bit like 5 minutes. And he was like,
I was trying to think of his name. Was and not Anderson.
It escapes me now. I'm having fucking dementia, but he gave me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He was like, Phil, I heard you're a first responder, and I heard you're having a hard time right now. And I said I was down in Louisiana. He was out down in Louisiana during Katrina and whatever. So, when the cameo starts out, well, when I was a child, it's going to be. But and we got Choppy two. We got one first time we got was Too Cold Scorpio, and then we just did another one for him, didn't we? For his birthday, we did the fuck did we do it? We did one for Choppy though recently. But
we gotta do is we gotta get Choppy like a bad one. We gotta get like somebody like he was gonna fucking hate.
No, it wasn't Gary Anderson. I have it on my.
I couldn't think of something Anderson.
Yeah, hold on a second.
But like I said, to me, like the cameo thing is a great idea. I mean, to hear that Steamboat is I mean, listen, 13. Steamboat was never known for his promo work. Is he is he getting better with promos with age? I mean, 13 minutes. Good Lord.
Yeah,
that's like Ric Flair status in the 80s.
Flash charging a ton of money for those.
Listen, man, people pay it. You can't deny these people. You know that I hear. You know, even like like you go to the meet and greets or whatever. Like some of them are kind of crazy with the money. You know, $20 for a picture, $15 for autograph, and then like you can't knock the hustle. Everything, but man, I'd love to hear that, especially to make it overly personalized like that. That's great.
Trying to find the guy who's on. It wasn't John Randall. It was Greg Coleman.
Wow.
Yeah, Greg Coleman. It was but it was fucking. It was so nice, man. And fuck himself because that 98 fucking NFC championship game against Atlanta. I'm like, no, fuck that guy. He would have to apologize to me in a cameo.
I was thinking like from
Buffalo.
From Buffalo.
Wide left.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Vikings just became a Giant yesterday.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, if you're free agent football,
a lot of moves happening
right now.
But
yeah, man, you're right. It's such a nice thing, and you know what? Just to look, I'll show you the picture of her face, like, and she's a very emotional person to begin with, but like this, like that kind of emotion. She's like, I can't. She's like, you did that for me. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, that's you and him now. Like that's your thing, you know.
Yeah.
And he opened up his house to you.
Well, there's something about it where like when we met Bob Backlund. No, was Sergeant Slaughter. Like when that moment where we met Sergeant Slaughter and he talked to us like as a regular person, and and in the sense of he goes, "Hey guys, have you seen Backlund around
in the parking lot?" Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and it's that idea of like it's like holy shit, like it's really actually we're going to be talking about Slaughter later. That idea of it's like we still always have this identity with celebrities, and regardless of who it is and how you feel. Like I've seen it firsthand when I was working in Manhattan. Really quick, De Blasio came by. Regardless of how you feel about him, that's neither here nor there. But De Blasio was coming by my garage in Manhattan, and he was giving us this big pep talk and what have you, and all this stuff. And there was this guy who I have this theory about people that talk politics on social media, that they just pick a side and then just defend it to the death. Like they don't really know what they're talking about. They just go at it without any care in the world. And this guy was
like Yankee fans.
I
kid.
Essentially,
I kid.
But he anti De Blasio. Like everything is whatever, all this bullshit. As soon as De Blasio came there, he was like a 12-year-old schoolgirl looking at Backstreet Boys in the late 90s. It's like you fucking mark, and that's like the definition of it. But once again,
was it like this, Jay?
Yeah, that's exactly what I. So then, fast forward, like somebody took the picture and blew it up and put it all over the garage. And
that's fantastic.
That's even better.
See, yeah.
But but there's still certain people that would do that.
Right.
Like I said, if I ever get the chance to meet Tylene Buck, I would just exactly how I would be. I would I'd talk so much shit about you, but I love you. Like I'd love and same thing with Sonny. I'd love to meet Sonny.
Sonny.
I talk so much shit about her.
Sonny made cupcakes for us, man.
Yeah, I talk so much shit about her, but as soon as I see her, I'm 12 years old all over again.
Yeah, she served us in the Wizards cupcakes.
But to see that Listen, especially when you're Steamboat's age, like and you're not working for the major companies, or you're not doing any consulting, whatever the case is. Like, this is your chance to really kind of give back. And like, you always hear these guys do it at these conventions.
Jim Cornette got so many requests when he popped on, the site crashed.
I believe it.
People are paying people are having other wrestlers give him
Yeah.
That guy Dan Housen.
Yeah.
They pay Dan Housen. Kids are paying Dan Housen to give promos to Cornette. It's hysterical. Dan Housen here.
I like I said, I just love to have like Cornette cut a promo on me, just you know what I mean, like something that.
You might get that for your birthday. Hey, Mr. Rob Domingo, thank you. He says I'm a genius.
Doing flips and shit.
But I went to a church conference once with the $1 Million Man. Yeah.
Did he get swindled out of money? Oh, because that happened. I was thinking that's the first, when I seen him on the throwback, that's the first thing I thought of, was just like, I just seen his movie recently too, The Price. Great movie with him, about him.
I enjoyed that.
And then like you hear about what happened. Allegedly, of course, it's allegedly he swindled millions of dollars. Allegedly, but that's the first thing I thought of, unfortunately.
Let's move on from kid-clutching priests, confirmation class, cameos.
Yeah.
Because we have not a ton of news, but we have some stuff to get into.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go first? I mean, what didn't you see?
So I didn't catch all of NXT. I caught some of it. I caught some of the beginning. I am loving. I know, I read the results, so I am loving. Karrion Kross is winning the NXT Championship at Takeover. What is it? Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver. This guy is a fucking star. He should not leave NXT. Excuse me. I love the opening promo with him, and then it led into the tag match. Him against is it the Kings? Not the Kings.
No, only Lorcan and Danny Burch.
Yeah,
champs.
Yeah, the Kings of NXT. I loved it. I loved it. I went out of my way to see. But even the stuff with Io Shirai, I'm a big fan of that.
She's calling out Puerto Rican China.
I think she's a great champ. I think there's still some meat left on that bone, but I think they're gonna try to give it to Raquel Gonzalez. I think, is it? Every time I say, I keep thinking Puerto Rican China, but I have a name.
Yeah, Raquel Gonzalez. You could say a name. I'm just going by Choppy. I'm keeping Choppy's spirit alive. You know what I'm saying?
But and I know it's the Drake, LA Knight.
Dummy.
How do you feel about that? I hate that name.
That fucking name is terrible.
LA Knight. That's a terrible name. But I mean, that's better than his original name in NXT. What was his name in when he was in developmental? It was oh shit. What the
I
hell
don't
was
know.
it? Oh, it'll come to me. But LA Knight, I'm not a big fan of that name, but and of the performer though.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm a big fan of him. Hold on a second. I got to pull it up because I should have made a clip of it. I thought of it last night and I forgot to. I was exhausted today.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and I went to hold on a minute. Yeah, this guy.
And our mission here is simple on Fact of Life. We're going to go down the line and we are going to name all the dummies. For a party, guy who wants to flip off a scaffolding, not for titles, not for money, but to prove that he's extreme. Well, that's stupid, so I say dummy. Dummy, yeah.
I scared the shit out of my cat last night because I put it on and he sits next to me and I just blurted out, yeah, dummy, yeah. I hate the name, but I like Eli Drake. I missed he was good in NWA.
I had to look it up. Yeah, that's actually his real name.
Yeah. He fought Austin Gray. That was an okay match. But what about fucking Ciampa and Marcel Bartel and then Volta?
I can't wait.
Yeah,
it's gonna go down. So at first, like I was saying last week, I don't know how this is gonna be with 2 nights of WrestleMania. NXT. I love being a
guys. There's something going on with the Rant DM feed. I don't know what it is. Stop it. And
start it up.
Start up again, yeah.
Ooh,
Go ahead, Jim.
We went dark for a second.
Yeah, it's fine.
I at first I was like really against the 2 nights of NXT. I think what NXT is sold on and their really strong suit is they come in with their takeovers, 5-6 matches straight to the no all killer, no thrill, no filler, but now like seeing all this that's happening around the NXT brand, I don't know. It needs to be 2 nights because especially seeing Ciampa and Volta going at it, that's going to be such a great
pissed off.
match.
I didn't take that whole week off.
Yeah, you need it.
Yeah, dummy. Yeah. But I got to tell you, man, I'm not mad at it. I don't know, guys. I don't know what happened to the feed. The feed froze. It wasn't the computer or anything. It was actually the feed itself. So I apologize. Whoever's listening on Rant EM, we are back on, and I'm gonna have to do some splicing for the download, which is. But yeah, dummy, yeah. But I must tell you, it's good to see him on TV on NXT, and it's 14. He was good, and then of course they had the title match. He was good, and then of course they had the title match. Orton and Birch against Cross and Balor and Karen Cross making a statement. There wasn't about the tag title at that point. He just wanted to give Finn Balor a beating. I said this in the beginning when he hurt his shoulder. And matter of fact, Choppy was the first one to say it too, I believe, that when he comes back, it's unfinished business. He was young crown champ at that point. As much as I adore Finn Balor, it's his time. You can't deny it. You know what I'm saying?
Balor's a great champion, and he is one of those quintessential doesn't need the belt to be over. The guy's a star. I like him with the belt, but like you said, Karrion Kross kind of getting hurt and getting that completely cut short really much before he got started. I want to see what Kross can do. This guy's got money written all over him, and
yeah, of course,
and mainly because 2 of his main squeeze. How can you ever go wrong with seeing Scarlett every week?
She's a nice dime, man. She's a nice dime, and we saw him in Philly that night a couple years ago. It was like that was his last. He said we knew he was going. I was like, this is the guy. Yeah. We all knew it that night too when we were in Philly. Yeah, he's the guy.
He was, he
was the guy. He was the next. He's the next big. I don't want to take away from Brock. We'll stick with WWE for a second. Eric Bischoff getting into the Hall of Fame and Molly Holly, but Eric Bischoff especially.
Yeah, this was not too surprising because if you the NWO is getting inducted, and this was part of that time where NWO is getting in, so it was Hall, Nash, Hogan, and who was the 4th name?
X-Pac.
Yeah.
Six.
And he I wonder if he's gonna go. Is he gonna go in at 6 on this one?
I have no idea.
But everybody was saying should be the 4th guy in it, and I agree. Whatever your opinion is about Bischoff, his mark on the business cannot be left out. Stated, at least in everything, and he was a very integral part in that. But I think he is due his own induction. I think I'm not mad at it. I do have to call bullshit. I'm a little skeptical. I did Corey Graves, Vic Joseph breaking the news to. I always love seeing those real moments, and we'll talk about it later with with the throwback. I always love seeing those real moments and see that, and you just go, if that's like truly like the first time they told him, like that's great. But I'm pretty sure that the E fucking calls you up and goes, hey man, we're thinking about inducting you, or you in or out. So I don't know if they go, all right, yeah, I'm in, and then he doesn't hear back, and that's the first time that they confirm it. You know what I mean?
No, it's
I'm a, and then you get, and then you kind of look the other way. But this one, I want to say, I hope that it was a legit reveal of it, but
I just find it ironic that he was on AEW a couple weeks ago. So he'll be on both programs by the time he gets in the Hall of Fame.
Who's better than him?
He's Easy E, man. So now they got to give him some type of Legends contract because they're probably going to do some videos with him. They're probably going to give him a fucking action figure. That Hall of Fame thing comes with shit. Bruno got in. They gave him a fucking action figure. They gave him a documentary.
Yeah.
They gave him Eric Bischoff already has one, but I'm sure they're going to update it, right? Because he's I was just watching his JBL interview today. I was watching that.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to see that. That was from a
while ago. Yeah.
Listen, I'm a big fan of his podcast. I know.
I never listened to it.
It's at first you weren't. I think he wasn't sure about how he wanted to be portrayed. I find him to be insightful and very level-headed in the sense of what was right, what was wrong, perspective, and all that. Like, it's a little bit more into maybe more side of it, ratings and.
Well, that's because he was at one point he was inundated with it so much that he gave Kevin Nash the book.
Yeah,
admitted it was a bad choice. But like he was so inundated with the competition and the ins and outs of it because at that point they lost all control at that point.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean,
and he admits it too.
The corporate suits they wanted wrestling out of the company. They didn't even know what day wrestling was on.
They didn't care.
It
was called Monday Night Nitro, and they had no idea.
They had no idea. So he's a very polarizing character, and I found him very amusing. I thought he was and Matt said it too. He was a true competition because Vince didn't have any competition
possibly only
right because when Vince was coming up, the territories were dying, so he was just cherry picking dudes and girls from the independents and territories. He took from AWA, he took from NWA, he took from fucking World Class, he took from Memphis. He just took everybody what he wanted out of him. So.
I think very deserving.
100%.
I think very deserving.
And if Tank was alive, God rest his soul, Jessica's actually Tank's sister's listening, so it's ironic that she's listening. But if Tank was alive, I'd get a phone call today. He'd be like, "Dog," they used to call me Phil Dog. "Doggy, what about see Eric Bischoff's in?" Tommy was so infatuated with the Hall of Fame. Everybody's supposed to get in. I'm like, dude, it's not a physical. Everybody's getting in. It's gonna be okay. You want to,
yeah.
I used to bust his balls, but. Very well deserved. Molly Holly, very well deserved. Molly Holly was and Jim Cornette said this too, one of the nicest people. She does all this charity work and, she's just a model citizen. She's what people should to aspire to be, apparently. And if you can get that kind of accolade 20 years later and you have in business, good for her.
Yeah. So, like I said, I mean, and it's just going to add to, like you said, you need to take a week off for this because now they're going to do the 2021 class.
Yeah,
it's going to a 9-hour event now.
Baseball's got to do it too, though, because they didn't have one last year, and the fucking captain got in last year.
Yeah.
If you're a Yankee fan, you got fucking gypped. I'm not going to do a whole baseball tangent, but if you're a Yankee fan. And you have a homegrown that won 6 championships, was the best at his position. Not a great fielder, but he was the best at his position, and then became a leader and transcended the team. And then you get the nod. What? And every Yankee fan that was born 1985 and over is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
Well, it's like the same thing, like you said. I mean, let's call it what it is. Like the NWO, yes, they have to be in. Like they are a Hall of Fame thing, but all 4 of those cats are already in. A
lot of guys got to get multiple rings. Triple H.
I feel bad for Waltman. Like he's only in as a faction guy.
Yeah,
like,
he might get in as the kid though. Whole lightweight, cruiserweight.
He should.
The Pioneers,
but unfortunately, I think he's going to kind of get.
We'll see what happens. I mean, this is, and listen, when your best friend helps run the company, you kind of have it in.
Well, I'm just saying, if you wanted to trim the fat a little bit, like Batista going in, once again, Batista's a Hall of Fame guy. I'm not denying that. I think his contribution to the business, he was a big star, and of course, in true WWE fashion, they just want to get some of that fucking Hollywood look. That's all it is.
I'm not mad at that, bro.
You know,
I'm not mad.
ABL going in to me is a big deal. I think he's a guy that was a true wrestler from the early 90s to, cut his teeth in Japan and Germany, in the independents before he came to WWF and stayed WWF his whole entire career after that. He had I just watched their Untold, actually. That's something I just watched, was the APA Untold, and that was really good. He's a guy I want to see. But like, who's like the big name from last year? I don't even remember who's going in last year. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So like, I
would like a physical building.
I agree,
because I went to Toronto to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and it was one of the greatest days of my life. I've been to Springfield, Massachusetts twice for the Basketball Hall of Fame, and it was and as big as a baseball fan I am, I've never been to Cooperstown. I'm gonna work on that, but like, just to be in those halls, those, like, dude, you go into Toronto,
yeah,
own wing. I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too. So when you go to these places, it's so, I don't know, it's you're in another state of mind. It's insane.
Well, I'm looking at it. The Bella Twins. Now I remember the Bella Twins, which, whatever. They should be in. I think maybe a little too soon.
Ron Simmons is in the Hall of Fame. Yes.
Yeah, Ron Simmons is definitely in. British Bulldog absolutely should be in. At this rate, like, Batista's the biggest name last year. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, and then Jushin Thunder Liger, like, yeah, he should be in, and I'm excited for that as well. I'm excited for the Bulldog one too. I'm just kind of curious to see how they played it. Is it going to be Diana's going to come up? David Hart Smith obviously is going to be there. Maybe this is how he gets.
The rumor is he's coming back.
Yeah.
So yeah. Didn't see Raw, and SmackDown's on now, so I'm not.
Raw's getting a little bit better. It's in my opinion. I'm not a fan of the Braun Strowman, Shane McMahon.
That's been done so many fucking times.
They're setting up for. I think it was supposed to be this week. This weekend, Fastlane, right? Fastlane's this weekend.
Yeah. So, all right. So here's the deal. I signed up for Peacock because the pay-per-view is on Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're moving stuff over. As of April 4th, the network will be no more. My subscription expires on the 24th of this month, so they're not going to renew it.
Mm-hmm.
So I switched over to Peacock because I was watching fucking World Clash yesterday at work.
Oh,
and my screen wouldn't play. And I was like, "What?" So actually, I had to sign up for fucking Peacock because you get a trial, and then you sign up for the premium, and it's $10 a month, like I said before, right? It's already a fucking shit show.
Well, because and I heard, I think through Solomon's podcast, was that it was like a lot of the classic stuff hasn't moved over yet. Like this, so it's only they're cherry picking.
I Rick Watts get turned on from Paul Roma against Orndorff. What's his nuts? Regal.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that stuff, and I love the world that the '84 World Class with Chris Adams and fucking Gary Hall. Eric's, I love that shit, man. But like, I'm not gonna. But it's and I understand I got to move everything over. But this is why, and I knew this was gonna happen, dude. I knew it.
But there's no explanation for the gap. Like like, I don't know. Call me crazy. I don't know how technology works and servers and whatever the fuck, but like, isn't it just going, okay, the WWE network has been great. Can't you just go, here's the keys?
But that's what I'm saying.
Here's the software, whatever the fuck it is.
And you would think because Peacock is NBC, which and they're a major company. Paramount owns that, right? Or is it the other way around?
Other way around.
Universal owns Paramount.
Yeah.
Okay. But they own everything, right? You would think they would have the bigger technology. I don't know ins and outs either, but I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they have that? It's just, oh, here's the password. Here's all the shit. I'm telling you right now, bro. I'm giving this a month, maybe 2 months. They better bring my shit in there. I want all my. I need the classic stuff. I don't care about fucking the untold story of Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
I love her, but I don't. I love Big E. I don't care about and Big E's great documentary, but I want to see the Von Erichs, the Freebirds,
I want
the
to see more.
Horsemen. I want to see.
I think they're going to start doing that. Apparently, the rumor is too with Sami's conspiracy, which is going really well. I think on SmackDown, Sami Zayn's conspiracy theories, I think is actually going to be an actual thing on the Peacock, which I seeing too. But put more classic shit up, man. There's so much shit that's out there that we could still put on there.
Yeah.
Like I said, stuff from Smoky Mountain. There's still years in Smoky Mountain that you could put up there. Memphis, I think. Oh wait, no, maybe not Memphis. I don't think he. Oh wait, no, Lola owns Memphis. I think because you get Memphis time.
Yeah,
but like I said, there's a lot of WCW Saturday Night from 93. They're finally putting on there and everything. So hopefully the Peacock get shit. I got to sign up for it. I was thinking of it the other day. I got to do it because I was watching the network for our throwback, and I was like, oh, I only got a few more weeks of this, and then that's it.
Stupid. And one more thing, Russo out.
Yeah,
my favorite.
Apparently she's tardy.
I'll tell you what, though, she could be anything she wants.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why I watch those backstage segments. All right, real quick, let's move through these. AEW. Yeah. Okay. After last week's debauchery with the fucking let's try to talk about the death match and cover it up. They have a fucking insane main event.
Yeah.
With Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, Mrs. Adam Cole, I should say. Lights out, insane fucking match. It's not sanctioned and blood and everything else, and it's got praise all over the internet. My question is this the cover? The makeup for what happened at the pay-per-view, and why would you have two girls do it? Is it because Tony Khan's trying to be funny, not funny, but trying to be slick and try to book something different? I don't know. I'm sorry, you're right over there.
Yeah. Sorry, texting really quick, and I don't think so. I liked it. I like the story between them, and I want to say this is a little bit of a okay. We messed up a little bit, try to recoup it a little bit, but you also need two puzzle pieces that fit there. And Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker brought it. And thoroughly amazed, like with that match. I thought both of them left it all out there. It was really, really good. I thought, and this is even women. Like I said, to me, if you would have, did that, I'm sorry, just reading something else. But men, women doesn't matter at that point. Like you see that was just a great match in and of itself. And I'll tell a story later about storytelling. But that was storytelling at its, in a little bit of a hardcore way, they could have did something. They could have did a little homage to it where somebody set off a firecracker. Just did like a dud firecracker and just like made a joke about it, but I guess maybe it would have took the piss out of it a little bit in the match. But I thought all in all, I thought it was good. I thought AEW was good in it.
Beat Penta, but I understand why they did it.
Yeah, but I like the stuff at the end though.
Yeah, the Pinnacle, the new stable,
Love
MJF.
Love it. Love it. They like I said, and it's what we've been saying this whole time was MJF, plotting.
It needs to be.
Yeah, he needs to be in his own faction.
Before I just forgot. We forgot to preview the pay-per-view for Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually previews this week.
Yeah, it's
Fastlane and the NWA. Saturday. So you want to do Fastlane real quick?
Let's do Fastlane. Yeah.
All right. Universal Championship. Roman Reigns. I'm taking Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. How do you not?
Right. Women's tag title: Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax versus Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. I think the champions were retained.
Yeah, they have to. Well, because it's going to play into Bianca, Sasha.
IC strap. Big E defends against Apollo. Used to be Uha Nation. Now he's I don't see Big E losing at this point.
No, he can't. You shouldn't. I mean, although, man, I like what they're doing with Apollo, but I'm a big fan. But especially he had it was a great 20 on him. But Apollo is doing great things on SmackDown. SmackDown is a far better show. It's head and shoulders above Raw at this point.
Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus.
I don't know. I'm really afraid it's going to be the
downfall of McIntyre.
Yeah, because I listen. I love this match. I think it's going to be a great match. What happened at Raw with the fucking bonk? You know.
Yeah.
It was so weird. But I don't know. I want to see McIntyre, Bobby Lashley. I'm just afraid that it's going to be, McIntyre Sheamus part 2. So hopefully they could maybe somehow, put a pin in there, after Mania. But yeah, you got to go with McIntyre.
They're putting Randy Orton against Alexa Bliss. I can't see this as a real fight. Wyatt returning.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt returned with a different mask, which looks fucking awesome. There's gonna be some kind of chicanery.
Yeah. And Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon.
Something about I read that they took it off of the website.
They might.
They're gonna save that for Mania.
Yeah, probably.
Something will happen, and then they'll save it for Mania.
Anything else in AEW? Forgot.
No. I like seeing Eddie Kingston and Moxley together. It's gonna play for a nice Eddie Kingston heel turn when Mox,
Matt Squire says Britt Baker's not a hardcore god in the world because she can headbutt a ladder.
Yeah,
he's right.
I tell you, both of them, Thunder Rosa herself as well. I think she's kind of ignored with this, but Baker was the complete star for that. And a losing, and it shows you how you can lose and still get over.
Yep. Anything?
No, that's it for now. I know Christian came out with a great promo, quick 2-minute thing. That was about noteworthy with Kenny Omega. So we'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, no, I think that's it for AEW. Crunch for time.
Jay, the National Wrestling Alliance has returned.
Excited.
With no TV, they are having a pay-per-view on Saturday. I think it's like 4:00 in the afternoon from the Atlanta studios, GBH studios, or GBB studios.
Yeah.
There's Tyrus versus used to be what's his face?
Oh
Funk is on Funkasaurus.
Funkasaurus. Oh my God, what's his name? Brodus
Clay. He's fighting JR Kratos.
Mm-hmm.
I think JR Kratos is in New Japan as well. Fatal 4-way Crimson versus Clearwater versus Slice Boogie. Mm-hmm. Slice Boogie's going to be a deal. Listen,
yeah,
he's going to be a deal.
And like I said, I mean, this is kind of good. I mean, especially for NWA to go in with no TV. This is a nice, short, sweet match.
Yeah. Dummy. Number one contendership for the women's championship, which is currently held by Serena Deeb.
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa against Camille.
Thunder Rosa looked very strong on AEW. I mean, listen, you could play into, Camille can win. But I like to see Thunder Rosa win.
Breaking news: Shaylin said that Barry O passed away. Randy's uncle.
Whoa, Barry Orton, huh?
I heard. I don't know how to try to. Let's look it up. For the National Heavyweight Championship, Trevor Murdoch defends against Chris Adonis. You know him better as the Master Lock, Chris Masters.
Masterpiece, yeah.
The Masterpiece. He's with Chris Masters, right? The TB title, Elijah Burke, the Pope, defends against Tommy Latimer. And for the Heavyweight Championship, the 10 pounds of gold, is to rest in peace, Josephus.
Yep.
Aaron Stevens going up against Nick Aldis for the title. Solid card for the NWA, at least. I can't be able to buy it.
But where's the? But I was
It's on Fight TV.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Fight TV.
But I understand. I can't. I can't buy it. I'm not gonna be home, so I can't.
I just I wish
I want to watch
stuff. I like to see a tag match or something between.
Well, I
them.
think the tag I forgot who the last tag champions were. It wasn't Latimer and they lost.
Yeah.
To the Rock and Roll Express, right?
Yeah, and then who was Latimer's partner? He got signed by?
Oh, that's what's his face's. Yeah, I know you're talking about. He went to.
Was it AEW?
I forget. But yeah, we have to look it up. I'm not prepared. Who gives a shit? Anything else on that?
So I'd like to listen. Nick Aldis is not losing his belt anytime soon.
No, I find him a good.
This guy is, and
unless Marty Skrull shows back up, which is he's been dropping hints on social media about it. We don't know where he's going.
Listen, and would be a great place for Skrull right now because
I agree
because no one else is going to touch him for right now, and get past it is you got to just stay out there and
Can
work.
You imagine if he came back and won the title? I mean, him and Aldis were they came up together. Mm-hmm. Be a good match. I mean, Marty's a little underweight to Aldis, but it'd be a good match regardless. And Marty Skrull can hang with the heavyweights now. He was a light heavyweight for a while.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Cup semifinals is this weekend. Tomorrow morning. We'll go through the card real quick. Tag match: Uemura and Juice Robinson versus Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb. Chaos Show, Yoshihashi and Toriano versus Bullet Club, Jado, Chase Owens, and Bad Luck Fale. I think Takahashi the Pimp's going to be on Chase Owens' Twitch tonight. LIJ versus Suzuki-gun, Dookie, ZSJ, and Taichi. Chaos, Okada. No, it's not Chaos. It's Okada, Tanahashi, and Kota Ibushi. This is a great match. Okada, Tanahashi, and Kota Ibushi versus Jay White, Kenta, and Takahashi. That's going to be a good match. And your two matches, Jay. Winners go to the finals. David Finley versus Will Osprey.
Hey, now.
He beat Jay White at the going under 0 for 12 against.
To say with something like that, especially, I'd like to see this match. I think Osprey's got such huge upside.
Yeah, I think Osprey's going to win the whole thing. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you that too. And then the other match is Takagi the Evil. That's going to be a big fucking beefy match.
Mr. Io Shirai over there, Evil.
So I'm thinking Will Osprey beats Finley. And the finals is Takagi and Osprey wins the fucking whole.
I can't see anything wrong with that. I think, like I said, I think Osprey quarantine and the pandemic, he got his body in heavyweight shape.
Yeah.
I think this is a transition for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's very evident of Omega from a number of years ago, how Omega started off, how he was in New Japan and just transformed and transcended into spotlight. I think Will Osprey is right there. I think so too.
It's his time. Rob Domingo in the chat room. #fuck Jay White. That's been Rob's hashtag for at least 2 years now.
I was gonna say, I think Jay White gets a bad rap.
It depends on what social circle you talk about.
I was just gonna say this social
because
circle.
I think he gets better in every fucking match.
He's a goddamn curse word in this social circle.
But here he's not very well liked.
Why?
Jay White. He's not, and Takeover Club is not a big fan of the Jay White. Anyway, any other news and notes up there, Big Tone, checking in from the West Coast?
No, that's I think that's good for now.
All right.
I'm excited for the throwback, man. I cannot wait to talk about this.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's plug our friends, and we're kicking it back to March 24th, 1991. It's gonna be a good paper. It's gonna be a good throwback, like Jay said. Very exciting to rehash this again. Listen to the Turnbuckle Throwbacks. We're live on the rant, rantemradio.com. The chat room is on fire tonight. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we'll be right back. Lord Alfred Hayes, take us away.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Everyone knows a lot of things can change in the span of 10 years. But when it comes to professional wrestling podcasting, one thing is still guaranteed. The Shining Wizards is the only place to get all the latest wrestling news, interviews with the greatest guests, and of course, tons of laughs in discussing the world of wrestling. The show is still available on Monday nights at 7 p.m. East on rantemradio.com and Rant Entertainment Media on the TuneIn app. And it's still available on all podcasting platforms. To check us out, head over to shiningwizards.com, where it's still wrestling.
Horns up, beautiful motherfucker. Radioactive Metal is here on the Shining Wizards Network, and we want you to listen.
Metal and speak to your favorite bands.
We discuss new releases, concerts, controversies, and everything else that's related to heavy metal.
We even talk about pro wrestling.
Catch every Thursday night on purerockradio.net.
Listen to past episodes at radioactivemetal.org or at shiningwizards.com.
And remember, it's not metal unless it's radioactive metal.
Are you tired of being told what to think and believe by Hollywood elites and politicians who just don't care about you?
Tired of not getting the truth when you watch the news?
Tired of trying to figure out what pronoun to use?
Tired of mob mentality when all you want to do is...
That's where we come in. This is Justin.
And Vince.
Hosts of Inconclusive Breakdown.
We are a weekly anti-PC podcast bringing you entertainment and current event news without any spin.
If you want to truly stay informed on what's going on, give us a listen every Sunday, anywhere you get podcasts, at least till Zuckerberg and Twitter Jack deplatform us.
And as always, we're proud members of the Shining Wizards Network.
Tired of the PC police telling you what you can and cannot say? Want a show that travels back to the 80s and 90s where the bad down cancel culture on 3 separate occasions and carried on to gloat about it? Since 2013, The Midnight Jury is that show. Travel back to the malls and arcades, pop in your VHS, and join us where the 80s and 90s return from the dead. Conan, tell them where to find us.
WLWstudios.com, home of the Midnight Jury podcast, hosted by Midnight Mike and Calvin Brody.
Also available on all major podcast platforms via the Shining Wizards Network, and join in the conversation on Twitter. Jury.
Doc Gallows and the Machine Gun Carl Anderson, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Throwbacks with Phil, Jay, and that pain-in-the-ass Choppy, and that's just
too sweet ski.
World Wrestling Federation Champion, Sergeant Slaughter versus the Immortal Hulk Hogan. Ace Captain. It's outside.
Yeah. Yeah. There's that Vince McMahon growl.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, that's our. We'll play the whole thing. What's up there? Pastor Siddell's in the room. What's up, Pastor? All right, let's do this proper, Jay. Let's do the. Yeah, let's do the week here. Hold on a minute. Where is our gimmick? Turnbuckle time. Turnbuckle time.
Turnbuckle time.
And now, here is your throwback of the week, sponsored by Shining Wizards Network and Rant EM Radio.
All right, Jay, Superstars and Stripes Forever.
Hell yeah.
March the 24th, 1991, from the LA Sports Arena, the LA Memorial Sports in beautiful Los Angeles, California. It is WrestleMania 7. The attendance was 16,100. Was it 16,000? 16. So the plan was to have it at the LA
Coliseum.
was originally scheduled, but they moved to the Adjent Sport. It was supposed to be near the stadium, but they because it was security reasons of the sergeants. Yeah, exactly.
Security reasons, aka couldn't sell enough tickets.
Right, correct.
Let's call it what it is.
Correct.
Listen, 16 to shake your head at, but it is no LA Coliseum, and they just got off this massive, they did the Sky Dome 1990, but this was the start of a down period.
Yes, Jay, this was the first WrestleMania not to feature Jesse Ventura as color commentator.
Yep. And like I said, he had just left. Went to WCW.
Yep.
After WrestleMania 6. Thankfully, but this was also the first one to feature Bobby Heenan, which Bobby was in true Bobby Heenan fashion at this point, especially with Guerilla. Like the chemistry there, you could just hear it, even when they're working there, you could just hear the chemistry together, and it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, celebrities were Regis Philbin, Marlon Maples, and Alex, but that whole room was dead except for Marlon Maples at one point.
Yeah.
This was the first WrestleMania for The Undertaker.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get into that in a little while. And I mean, there was a couple of things going on here. So, this was all right. So, Sergeant Slaughter was Americana.
Yeah.
Before Duggan was a thing, right? And if you're an '80s kid, you know that Sergeant Slaughter was everything in terms of patriotism. He was a G.I. Joe figure that sold more than the regular figures. He was a fiction. He wasn't a heel for very long because he turned and he was like this fan favorite everywhere he went. The camo, the fucking gimmick, and now we're in we're at the heart of the Gulf War, the Gulf Crisis. My Uncle Teddy had just went in, and it was crazy. The country. I was still in high school, and the country was in such disarray in terms of ship and the world at one point with Saddam Hussein and the whole nine yards. It was a very, very patriotic. People were tying ribbons around trees and selling fucking. It was insane. What does Vince do? He turns Sergeant Slaughter, and they turn him. Not only but they make him an Iraqi sympathizer.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about this before. How how this was basically to do two things. It was to bring Hogan back to the fold as a main eventer, to have the Macho Man turn eventually, inadvertently, and this was also to heighten what was going on in the country.
Yeah,
and to soothe out the fucking fan base.
Art imitates life in a sense.
Correct,
and to capitalize. I think you can't. You can't disagree with that. And this is, Vince, the whole steroid scandal happens. This is literally right before that. So they're firing on all cylinders here. They're trying everything. Like I said, I think tickets, let's call it what it is. It's funny. That's like one of my favorite things to read about is, the stuff with WrestleMania 8, which is the following year, and it should have been, and it still should have been, Hogan against Flair. Even though I love the Macho Man Randy Savage, Macho Man Ric Flair match, I love that match, but all Flair, and they're saying, well, we tried it on the house shows and everything, and it just didn't draw well. It's like, yeah, but you went to L.A. Like, Ric Flair's nobody in L.A.
Ric wrestled there a million times as NWA champion. The only territory that meant anything on the west coast of that, besides Portland, Oregon, is fucking San Francisco.
Yeah.
Roy Shire is territory.
Yeah, and you parade.
Cali
Flair
wasn't a
out.
big wrestling town
Yeah,
ever.
you
No
parade
disrespect to our people on the West Coast.
Of course not. Yeah, but you parade Flair out there. He's WWF. So this is new territory for him, and you bring him in markets where he really wasn't that big of a draw. Like and so I don't know. Like this is at a moment where they're trying stuff, and to me, you can't do it now. You can't do this type of booking now where I think they're trying it in NXT with Cameron Grimes with he's doing the GameStop stock thing, which I kind of like. I like when you pieces of real life stuff and then sprinkle it in. And here it's done in good taste here because it's a great story. Sergeant Slaughter is Mr. Americana. He's siding with Saddam Hussein, and they're photoshopping bad pictures of him.
And
with
he's
Saddam.
got General Adnan,
Yes.
who speaks the language,
Mhm.
and then they bring in the Sheik at one point too, and it was just it not well. I want to point out though, they had Willie Nelson sing "America the Beautiful," coming out in the gimmick. He had the Bret Hart glasses, the foam title belt around his waist, wearing the t-shirts, and Donald Marlon Maples, and I mentioned Alex Trebek and the late Regis Philbin. Other celebrities included George Steinbrenner, Paul McGuire, Macaulay Culkin, of course Donald Trump because he was with Marlon Maples at the time, Lou Ferrigno, the original Hulk,
and Henry fucking Winkler,
Chuck Norris, and Henry Winkler, Chuck Norris, and the Fonz himself. And the song I just played was one of the first written by Jim Johnston.
And that's the essential WrestleMania song in my head.
Yeah. WrestleMania. Yeah.
And like I said, and this was a we'll see later on. Like this was a long night.
Yeah. Just premise real quick. I played the promo at the beginning of the podcast for the folks. The Royal Rumble, the Warrior was up against Sergeant Slaughter. That was the main event. Savage, of course, we all know, didn't get the title shot he was promised.
Yep.
So he intervenes and cracks him in the skull with the scepter.
And not even that, but even like with the lighting fixture from Royal Rumble, we talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
Man, it's just like Macho Man just looking at Warrior go, "Oh, I'm gonna teach you how to work." And he just fucking hit him.
You can listen to that podcast. We did it in January. We did
it.
That was a good one. Like Jay said, this is a long night. We're gonna go do these as best. That Jay has to go to work tomorrow. Let's see, and I think that's it. When we get some new any more PowerPoints, I just missed.
No, that's
Lord Alfred Hayes and Jim Duggan did commentary when Bobby Heenan couldn't.
Yeah. I once so it opened up with Guerilla Monsoon, which is any nostalgic fan will always say Guerilla Monsoon out there with the red jacket and the half shades.
Yeah, they have an action figure of that. If it's not $9,000, I may purchase it because I love Guerilla Monsoon. I always did.
He so at first you see Guerilla, and then he announces Hacksaw, and Hacksaw comes out with the big Yankee Doodle Dandy fucking gimmick on, and then you just go, fuck, man. Like I was just talking shit. I completely forgot that Heenan comes on later, but I was like, man, I was talking shit about Piper doing Terry. I was like, now I'm stuck with fucking Duggan. I was like, this is gonna be even
Duggan
worse.
was over, and Duggan was so over the top.
Yeah,
he was talking over Gorilla, and it was like, thank God we didn't get 3 hours of that shit.
Oh, thank God. Like I said, listen, smart move by Vince. Puts them out here. Heenan's already out, so all he has to do is just migrate over to the announce. So the first match was Haku and the Barbarian, which is literally the toughest team ever to be assembled.
One of the toughest teams.
They are the toughest team to ever be assembled.
Yeah.
And against the Rockers, where this is the last hurrah for the Rockers right here.
Yeah, before Sean's,
I believe by this. I mean, what else could you do with them? At that, there's really not much else you can do.
If you weren't going to give them the championship, and you knew you had something with Shawn Michaels. That's probably why they didn't give them the titles.
Yeah,
because they saw something in Shawn Michaels. Let's be honest.
Which, and it's funny if you think about it, like Jannetty was the popular one, for a time, and because he was a great worker. I mean, Shawn was in his own right too, and would just go on to be the best, But
that's debatable. But yeah,
yeah. Well, it's funny. I got a great theory later on. I'll talk about it.
All right. Well, let's.
But
good opening match.
Good opening match. It set the pace and everything. And like I said, I think it was around 8-9 minutes, somewhere around there. Quintessential tag match. Great spots. And like I said, the Rockers win. And to me, I think it was crossbody, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And you hate to see him go down with a crossbody, but in the annals of professional wrestling, it makes sense if he's worn down. And yeah, you can anybody can get caught with a 3 count. So the Rockers win, and this would be their last WrestleMania together, and essentially almost Jannetty's last WrestleMania in general, I believe.
I think so. Your next match was just the start of that. This is where Phil counts how many people are dead. Texas Tornado against Dino Bravo. With Jimmy Hart.
This match in itself. To see where Kerry Von Erich was in Texas, you can see the vast differences of territory wrestling as compared to, I want to say, the big machine of WWE, WWF. Kerry Von Erich is a $1 million body. What did Flair say about a Luger? $1 million body, $100 mine, something like that.
$5 mine, yeah.
Is a good enough worker. But on like where would you rate him? Let's just use WrestleMania 7 as the template. Where do you rate him? Is he in the top tier of the workers, or is he in the middle? I kind of put him towards the middle.
I'm going to disagree, because if you watch the other Von Erich's work, I thought Mike was a better. I mean, Mike was a great worker.
Well, David was
the best.
Yeah.
David could have been world champion.
Yeah.
As much as Flair was, but Dave were better. I thought Kevin was a fucking good wrestler.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Kerry wasn't.
I'm not saying Kerry was bad, but if you're gonna rank, any of those guys could be mid-carders. He just had a look.
And
he was.
I don't think he was that good. And essentially, like, and I'm just, obviously, let's just call it what it is. Like, his finishing move was an illegal punch. Like, I hate to go like Jesse Ventura, Bobby Heenan on this, but like
Cadillac body, Volkswagen, Ted DiBiase. Thank you, Mr. Jason Grooms.
Oh, that's great.
And Marty was the better worker.
He was
than Shawn.
He was at that time.
At that time, yes.
At that time,
100%. Thank you.
But I just and Kerry Von Erich, he goes to WWF in late 1990, early in 1991. He is a small fish in a big pond. It's that just basically that simple. He was the Beatles. Him and his brothers were the Beatles in Texas in the 80s. But he wasn't destined for much more. He couldn't get it through. He wasn't that charismatic. But once again, where does addiction fall, at the foot of that? A few different claims. But match was short. God, poor Dino Bravo had to do the job for this, But I guess you can't you can't put an enhancement on WrestleMania. But,
no.
Dino Bravo deserved better than that. Just knowing, I guess maybe some of that's bleeding over from
the dark side of the ring.
Yeah,
Yeah. Listen, you have to understand something too. There was so many spots that there were so many spots that, I mean, at that point, I can give you a laundry list of guys who were mid card at that time who could have been world champion anywhere else.
Of course.
You want to talk about Mr. Perfect?
Yep.
Rick Martel,
Tito Santana,
Jake Roberts. The Bravo. You know what I mean? Any of those cats that could have been champion somewhere else. I mean, but it just depends on how you're written in. You know what I'm saying? But that's gonna be another podcast. But
yeah,
your next match went way longer than I wanted it to.
Well, and that's like the funny thing, because like, and then it's going to be a conversation about later about a tag where you just go, that's it, like you give this match what 8 minutes, 7-8 minutes.
You made a Beatles reference, right?
Yeah.
To Von Erich. He went from being the Beatles in Texas to just Ringo. But I got to tell you, Matt, and you're a musician, you should know these things. Ringo Starr had a fantastic solo career.
Yeah.
Because he fucking aligned himself with a ton of people. He's got some good solo stuff. It's just not as prominent as Lennon and McCartney and George Harrison, but it's still Ringo. Right.
It's Ringo,
Mr. Perfect was champion in AEW, but I'm talking about he was a young champion. I'm talking about in his prime. But you're 100% right. And he beat for was it Bockwinkel? Did he beat? No,
he beat Bockwinkel.
He beat Bockwinkel, right? Because I know Hansen beat Martel, and I think Martel lost it to.
And Jerry Lawler won it from.
When they merged, yeah. I'm sorry, but yeah, man. Like, I mean,
to me, this match, Bulldog against Warlord. Bulldogs. This is Bulldog's return to WWE. They had the spat with Dynamite Kid about the name. I think. Obviously, how he gained, quote unquote, the trademark from Dynamite Kid, possibly questionable terms.
But Dynamite Kid finished Japan. He wasn't even wrestling at that point that much.
Yeah, depending on who what circles you talk to and what have you, like how he got the name, a start to his his career as a solo wrestler. He had Matilda. Right? Didn't he have it? Yeah, he did. He had Matilda there. And
thank God they got him back from the Islanders.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with Fuji.
Fucking no, Heenan.
Oh yeah.
The Islanders.
Well, I was gonna say Fuji, in and of itself.
Yeah. Oh, forget it.
But the Warlord, he was what he was.
He was a tag team wrestler too. They split the Warlord and the Barbarian up.
Yeah.
And ironically, they put the Barbarian in. He was a solo guy for a little while too, but it was like, I mean, this went 8 minutes. Too long.
Way too long.
I like Slick as the manager. I always love Slick.
I was a big fan of Slick.
Slick can do no wrong in my eyes. All right. So yeah, he beats minutes and 15 seconds.
I tell you, and like you said, he gets the Warlord up for the power slam. Like that it was a pretty impressive, impressive power slam. But yeah, like I said, this match went on a little long for me.
Okay, your next match, Jay?
Art Foundation against the Nasty Boys
for the WWF Tag Team Championship. I love those titles, by the way.
The best looking tag titles.
Well, them and the were just as good if you look them up.
Ooh,
they're so good. Yeah. If I had money, bro, I'd just have I would have a mantle, a wall of just tag team titles and the television title from the NWA, the red one.
Brett's interviews at this point was still, he still looked like he had like the red light fever. He couldn't, Anvil was definitely the more charismatic of it. And I had this thought about Brett. Brett always, for some reason, seems he's very sour about, his time. And there's so many different stories, probably too many to list. But like, Bret Hart inside the ring, there's probably nobody better. Arguably, especially on at least in this. But I wonder how good he was. Obviously, he had that match with Tom McGee and made Tom McGee look like a fuck. But if you really have all Bret Hart's greatest matches, right? He was in there with somebody that can go. So now, obviously, it takes two to tango. Flair has proven, and Shawn has proven that you can guide people. Macho Man, which we'll talk about later, how you can guide people to go where you need to be. At what point is Bret? Do we always consider Bret a great wrestler? And at what point do you take some of the spotlight off of him and shine it on his partner at that point? Like, I was trying to think of like guys that he had great matches with. that weren't a good worker in their own right. Like I was thinking of Sean Waltman, like when he had the match on Monday Night Raw with 1-2-3 Kid a few years later. Like that's a great fucking match, but fucking Waltman can go.
I think you let his grumpiness cloud your perception of him, right? Big Bret Hart guy ever. I always rooted for the heels anyway. That's just because I'm an idiot. But I never disliked him to the point where I was like, he's not that good. I think Bret Hart didn't appreciate his run after his tag team run until he was the face of the company.
Yeah.
Because you got to understand something. Right, a couple of years after this, it goes dark.
Yeah.
It's a terrible time for wrestling in general.
But unfortunately, Bret Hart's one of those guys that had the belt at that time.
I understand that, but I'm saying, like, when you hear him, when you heard it, you read the book and you saw the shoot interviews, and then of course the Montreal Screwjob, and people to this day are like, Bret didn't. First of all, the whole thing with the Screwjob, Vince. I just found out recently that Vince apparently was afraid that Bret was going to take the title to Nitro with them. They were in such litigation at that point. They were arm's length litigation with WCW that even if Bischoff wanted that, it couldn't do it. Couldn't have happened. So when Vince says Bret screwed Bret, it resonated with me because that was not that was a shoot.
Well, because
right,
because of his attitude backstage.
And I think his attitude clouds, unless you're Nick German, clouds everybody's judgment of him. Because there's a lot of guys that weren't nice people in the back, but they were fucking phenomenal talents.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Shawn Michaels included.
A lot of guys. There's that's another podcast. Again, It's another podcast that we can do. But he always worked with guys that can go, and the guys that he carried didn't have to carry him that much because, he was pretty much a very, very safe, stationary guy.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of John Cena, not in personality or anything like that, but just in style, like the just quintessential good guy that you're gonna have a good match with him regardless of who he's fighting, and that's what John Cena did. The 5 moves of doom. Oh, Bret Hart, John Cena. Yeah, but you know what? The 5 moves of doom
worked
because he's as a character. Listen, you can do all the moves you want. If you're not a character, the moves aren't going to resonate with the fans.
Yeah.
That's why people get mad at the whole Young Bucks spot monkey shit because it's all flips and kicks and 9,000 kickouts. But if they weren't the Young Bucks, that's all secondary.
Yeah.
So Bret Hart built his character from the tag team and didn't have that shine on him and didn't cut a promo and didn't have that. He finished. He was a finisher. But when he became the main event guy, he had no choice.
Yeah.
He had no choice.
And I think it's just timing at that point. But
right.
And you're right. Like maybe his bitterness, it is clouding my judgment a little bit. But
it's not just you, dude. It's a lot.
But because if you think about
this conversation comes up a lot.
I have this theory in life where, if nothing is ever your fault, then at what point is it? Why is the world against you? And to me, what's the common denominator there? I went to WCW. They ball with me, but then at what point were you trying?
He was going to be the face of Thunder.
Yeah,
imagine that. They gave him like $5 million to be on a Thursday night show. They didn't even debut him till a month later.
Of course.
So you know what? I think his bitterness clouds the judgment of a lot of fans.
Yeah.
And
like I said, especially in this match where, the Nasty Boys, high praise on this show. These guys, granted, they're not bodyguards. Ring, these guys can go in the stuff like they can't go like Bret Hart, but they can give you a great match, and these guys are great heels, and they played their part perfectly in this match. But it did get me thinking a lot about Bret as a performer, where like at what point is everything always everybody else's fault and nothing, and like he's not shouldering any of the blame.
It's great because and then was it right before he left to go to WCW? He was the heel.
Yeah.
The whole Canada thing, and it was like, and even then it was like, he incited some criticism because he was just not. Sometimes he was believable, sometimes he wasn't.
Yeah.
But
he was great as a heel.
He was so well loved, and that's the thing, man. Vince knew what he had, and he built that character.
Yeah.
So it's like no matter where he goes, he has that WWF stank on him.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys just like, how the big thing is, if you come from somewhere else, Vince don't. On Jericho's podcast last week, if you're not homegrown, you're not that guy.
You got to prove yourself.
You got to prove yourself, whatever. But like, he has that stank on him. So when but I think his attitude clouds people's perceptions of him.
Yeah,
It's like
and like I said,
that's like Luger. I can't stand Lex Luger, right? But my perception of him is because he's just he wasn't a good person.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why he didn't win. He with the body and the position he was in, he should have won X amount of titles, and he didn't until they were forced to put the fucking belt on him.
Yeah.
When the company was in disarray.
Yep.
Okay, but I digress.
But that would be a great like I said, that'd be a great show to.
I'm not mad at that.
God, this match went a little bit longer than I remembered.
Choppy praises this match. I
like it because and I'm going to talk about it with a later match. Simplicity.
Okay, you're not going to remember this, but you were polluted the first night you and I became friends.
Oh yeah,
and you mentioned that same exact thing to me. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for this pay-per-view, and you said it was the simplicity of it, Phil. They were fucking blown, Phil. And I'm like, dude, I understand. I wasn't a big fan of the match, but the psychology of it.
Because if you think about it, once again, it really is, because obviously we all know how it happens. They could see through it, but Jake just looking to the crowd, not looking to the crowd, but just pointing his finger. That was the biggest move of the match. But before the I guess maybe you could say the Boston Crab that Rick Martel put on him, but before the DDT or what have you, that was basically it. It was 7-8 minutes of them just walking around.
Yeah.
But you have to admit though, the crowd was in. The crowd was definitely in.
Of course. I mean, Martel, I loved his character. I always did.
Loved it.
And Jake is Jake, man.
How about it's April or March of 91. This started in August of 90.
Yeah, because I mean, if you listen,
great storytelling.
Man, that's why sitcoms was so great and dramas in the 80s, because you can have a fucking 10-year, 20-year, even a soap opera, 10, 20, 30 years. I remember my mom, All My Children, right? It was a Channel 7 soap opera for years. My mom watched it for almost my entire childhood, every fucking day, right? And when you were home from school, you had to wait for her to get done with the TV. She could watch cartoons. Woody Woodpecker was coming on at 2:00, right? So, but this one chick, like Jake the Snake Roberts, Erica Kane, legit. She was a tramp. She had like 10 husbands. Was super rich off these people, but she had all this knowledge of the town, and every person she knew how to fuck with them.
Yep.
And all these storylines, like, oh yeah, you're gonna fuck around and cheat on him. Well, guess what? I know you had a kid by so and so, and with Jake, you have this infinite storytelling, because he could just go with anything, and he was so good at what he did. He was amazing. He didn't have, like, another guy didn't have the body, but he had the mind. He could have been his dad was a big booker back in the day.
Yeah.
But he could have been a boss. He could have booked. He could have built characters.
If he would have just stayed straight and
look what he did with Lance Archer in 3 months when they first came out. And I'm like, yo, there's a reason why they put Jake with him.
Oh yeah.
And he's not he had a very successful run in Japan, but like there's a reason why they put Jake with him. And now Like Jake Roberts is like, that guy for me. So if I take anything positive out of this, it's two guys I'm just a fan of. The blindfold thing I could do without. It was 6 minutes too long. This should have been a straight up squash match. This should have went less than 5 minutes. Them touchy feely, Jake catch him in a DDT and then rolling him over.
I agree, but at that point, I wondered like if it was designed to go 7-8 minutes, because I wonder at what point, because clearly at some point they were definitely short on time in this show.
Right, but so now they'll tell him, hey, you have, the difference between pay-per-view and TV is that you're not crunched for commercial time.
Yeah.
Right? But with pay-per-views, you always jump over.
Yeah.
So it's like guys would like squeeze in a minute or two.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to the main event, a 20-minute main event is now 8 minutes, 10 minutes long, and you're fucked.
But you can see where they definitely trimmed it. I think they trimmed it in the wrong spot, if you ask me my opinion. But nonetheless, but yeah, it went a little bit long. I agree with that. But the build-up, the build-up was worth it. Especially everybody wanted to see that DDT, especially done with the blindfold on. It was good. Like I said, I enjoyed this match. I loved it. Like you said, you do a great impression of me drunk, by the way. The simplicity of
it, Phil. This fucking the simplicity. I'm sorry, guys.
But like I said, the idea of pointing the finger, and like I said, Martel, it's another one that's going to get overlooked with that, but he played his role perfectly. At one point, he ran into the ropes. It was great. I agree with Chops on this one. I love this match.
Both guys just know how to work, and they turn a shit gimmick into a good match.
Yep.
I just wasn't a fan of it. Your next match, oof,
Undertaker, the WrestleMania debut of Undertaker with Paul Bearer. Against Jimmy Snuka.
Okay, brother.
All right, brother.
Okay, brother. This was Undertaker. I mean, Undertaker was only a couple of months in at this point. November of last year of 90 was his debut. Now they took away Brother Love. They gave Paul Bearer, Percy Pringle, and who was a legit mortician, which is fucking amazing. If you're a fan of the character, this had to be fun for you going back and looking at it, because this starts the streak.
Yeah.
Yep. Credit to Snuka, who was a chain smoker at the time. Was phenomenally built.
Yeah.
Wore boots,
which
for first in a long time.
Was weird.
Yeah. But listen, you could say all you want about Jimmy Snuka. Yeah, he probably killed his girlfriend. And yeah, he died a horrible death. And yeah, he could have been world champion if he didn't kill his girlfriend. But he can work.
Yeah.
And that's why they put him in that spot.
Well, think of Undertaker at this point, who's what, 25, 26 at this point, and will go on to have a great year. But think of his first year in the business. He pinned Dusty Rhodes at Survivor Series, didn't he?
In WWE, he was
WWE.
He was wrestling before that.
Yeah, but I'm saying
first year in the E.
Yes, yeah.
He won the Survivor Series for DiBiase.
He pinned Dusty Rhodes in this.
Yes, David.
WrestleMania, he pins
Jimmy Snuka
in deciding fashion. I don't know his SummerSlam match, but we know at Survivor Series he pins fucking Hulk Hogan to win the belt. Arguably one of the best first years of any wrestler.
That is another podcast. Who had the best first year
That's a great one.
You could do Austin, Rock, Taker, Foley.
Yeah.
You could do Flair.
And I just
Jay
moved
pulled out his microphone.
But how can you look at that and say anything different other than wow? But dude, he won this in what? What do I got?
You want to fix that?
No, I got it. I'll talk like this.
You're out of your mind.
I'll wait for you to start talking and I'll fix it.
No, I can pause your microphone. I'm gonna put. Look, Jay's gonna put that back in. There you go.
I'm in.
Okay, now you're back. Okay, good.
I'm back.
Okay.
So, but like you said, it's a great notch on your belt. If you're Undertaker in the back, where you thought you were coming in with this bad gimmick, and next thing you know, you're like, I just pinned Jimmy fucking Snuka at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Snuka was a deal.
Now, granted, we're completely on the downslope of Snuka.
Yeah, but 6 years prior,
yeah,
he was
he was it.
He was in the corner of the main event of WrestleMania. So it's like, he was still somebody, So
without a doubt.
All right, so let's count the dead count here.
Snooker.
Let's see.
Paul
Bobby,
Bearer.
hold on. Bobby Heenan, Texas Tornado, Dino Bravo, that's 3. Bulldog, 4. Jim Neihart, 5. Paul Bearer, Jimmy Snuka, 6 and 7. Warrior Savage, 7 and 8. And Queen Cherry, 9. So we're up to that match now. So we have 9 people dead in Phil's Deadpool. Your next match is the retirement match. The Ultimate Warrior against the Macho Man, Macho King, Randy Savage.
Macho King.
With a sexy, sensational. Sherry looks so fucking good, man.
You look great here.
What a shit locker on her, too. I didn't realize that until I watched it again.
Especially with that dress.
Holy shit balls.
They, I told Phil pre-production, I was watching a match at home, and the kids, I picked the kids up, and I was in the midst of making dinner. So the kids are on there. My stepson Dylan has he's starting to have a mild interest in wrestling. He watches women wrestling from recent, last, but he has an interest in the product, and so he looked up, and Macho Man's coming out on the throne, and he just asked me, "What is that?" I was like, I think he recognizes the name Macho Man. He might recognize the colors and everything. So I was explaining it to him, and Ultimate Warrior comes out. Now, Warrior comes out not running to the ring. Now, obviously, they're trying to tell a story that this is a career match and everything. And obviously, he's not running to the ring. So it's a different kind of Warrior. You get it now. So I wish Dylan would have been able to see Warrior. Also, the entranceway was kind of short too. You take 3 steps and you'd be at the ring. But at one point he's watching his iPad and he's watching the match, and he's mildly interested, keeps looking up, and at the halfway point where Macho Man goes for the 5 elbow on Warrior, I look over at him. His headphones are off from the iPad. His iPad's fucking shut down on the right, and he's damn near at the edge of his seat watching it. And I remember going, oh, and once again, we said the word simple. That's something. It's a simple storyline. And this kid didn't know any of the backstory. I gave him didn't know anything, but the action in the ring caught his eye, and he was hook, line, and sinker. And at that point, he was in. He was hooked, and it was an amazing thing to see.
And that's why you had 20 million Dylans between 85 and 95, because it was very mainstream.
Yeah.
And I agree. This match was probably top 10 Mania matches of all time. And we've been through 37 of them now. So this match, the simplicity, but the simplicity of it, Jay's right. The story, we all know the story, like I said before. Savage costs the Warrior the title. Warrior wants revenge, and the only way he's going to get it is if he challenges Savage to a retirement match. Someone's got to go. Guerilla Monsoon would say at one point.
Yeah,
someone has to go. I never liked retirement matches, and at that point I was 15, but I didn't like them because I always knew they would come back. Like, no one can really retire in their fucking. You know what I'm saying? But as a kid, you're like, oh my god, like, can he really retire? You're like, oof, But when I was getting hip to the wrestling business, I was like, retire, like, this is ridiculous, man. I remember going to hockey. I played hockey at the time, and I had someone had bought me as a present. We all had water bottles. The squirt ones were just coming into, and I had someone bought me an Ultimate Warrior one, right? And I didn't really like the Warrior, but I liked him because he beat Hulk Hogan. So someone knew that and bought it for me as a present, like a family member. So, but just to avoid any like getting made fun of, tape it up like the goalies do, So I taped it up and I bring it to practice with me. And someone was talking about I remember hockey practice. You see, the Warrior and Savage, man. And as much as Hogan, this is another reason. This is another Randy Savage. I'm going to steal the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
fucking moment, because Hogan and Andre was the big deal, but it was Savage and Steamboat who turned it up, right? This was another Randy Savage stealing the moment. Know what we know now about Randy Savage. Know what we know now about the Warrior. I said this before. His shining moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 2 matches I enjoyed his work. Well, 3. One when he beat Hogan. A match with him and Harley Race when Harley Race was the king.
Yeah.
And this one. Oh, I'm a liar. I'll add the Rick Rude match.
I was just going to say
I'll
Rick
add the
Rude.
SummerSlam match. I'll add the Rick Rude match to that too. Right? I'm just doing this at the top of my dome. I didn't
Yeah.
write this down. So, I have a 20-minute, 21-minute, 23-minute match. Got to be this. This was probably one of the greatest matches in terms of storytelling.
Yeah.
Storytelling. And even if it didn't work, they told a great story in the ring.
It was the perfect combination of storytelling, in-ring action, back to storytelling, massive drama. Because especially at the one point where, he hits him with the 5 elbows, Warrior kicks out. That's a huge moment in wrestling history. Nobody kicked out of the fucking.
And what about the Warrior? Well, Guerilla Monsoon ruined it and called him the Warlord. And Bobby Heenan had to correct him.
Yeah.
But the Warrior, after the whole gimmick, right? The Warrior stops and he gets on one knee and he's looking at his hands.
Yeah.
And he's looking up like, why can't I finish this?
Yep.
And it's almost like, all that mumble jumble he talks in his promo, the ones that don't make sense. It made perfect sense. Exactly. It made perfect. It was like, okay, now he's talking to his friends.
Yeah.
This power from above. Where am I getting this power from? Why? And more importantly, how right now to beat this dude? And Savage brought it to him.
Yeah.
Absolutely brought it. And the Warrior was forced to work.
Yeah.
And when you force somebody who can't work to work, it brings out something in you.
Well, you could see it too with Savage, with like some of the shots, like they were stiff. Like it was hard to see it. Obviously we probably know that Macho Man probably sat with Warrior for 2 weeks, going over
planning
the
this out.
match.
And the relationship, I don't know what their relationship was. But it had to be good.
I think so.
It had to be
this
good.
Was magic.
And you had Liz in the audience. It was
that could so that was it too. So then same thing when Warrior's looking at his hands and Dylan, he's like, what is he doing? I was like, I said, it seems like he's not worthy enough to be a wrestler. Like he's gonna walk out. He's gonna quit.
I have to look back at this, but Jay said something really significant. He said the kick out after the 5 elbow drops was the true beginning of the false finish era in wrestling.
I think it was the first time anybody's kicked out of the maybe did Hogan kick out of the elbow drop in WrestleMania 5? I feel like that's a Hogan-esque thing to do.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember that, but
he could be absolutely right.
He could be right.
He could be absolutely right.
But this was and then Macho Man telling side of it, because this was the perfect amalgamation of everything, like just everything together. And then especially at the outside, all of a sudden, Warrior's draped over the guardrail. Macho Man's going to go for the axe handle on him. He shoves Sherry away. Savage jumps out. Warrior catches him, and then Warrior goes, "No, I'm not dead." Like you could see it. The crowd becomes unfucking glued.
Right.
And then he hits him with fucking 4 or 5 shoulder blocks. Not every time.
The ring. Yeah.
The fucking drama with that. And then the crowd is just feeling it. And then that the pin was fucking perfect too, because he just stood on him and counted 3. And then, like I said, that point, it was like, holy shit, Macho Man's gone. We forget that he's the Macho King and it's the Macho.
Scale back about 8 minutes. Sherry, as many times as she tried to intervene, it backfired, and it normally doesn't.
Yep.
You knew it was the beginning of the end, because Sherry basically told her part of the story.
Yep.
What am I doing here? Like, I'm helping you, but you're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I did all the distractions. I did fucking run-ins. I took off shoes and garters and
jumped off them.
Jumped off top ropes and shit for you. What am I doing? And that, for me, watching this again for the 9th time, right? That for me is probably the X factor of this whole entire thing. That and Liz at the end.
Oh yeah,
right?
the stuff with Liz is amazing.
But yeah, he pins him, and it's like the air was sucked out of you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, like he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone. He's done. At 15, I'm like, he's gone. He's done. Really? He's done.
Yeah, we don't.
Really, he's done. I mean, he's in his fucking prime, right? It's the Macho King. He's the fucking the man. He's the madness. I love the look on Sherry's face, the realization that her meal ticket was gone. Again, that's
the
what I'm saying.
Makeup is all running.
Yeah, and it's her. She's the X factor. So now it's both guys are like, I can't believe they just killed each other for almost 21 minutes. By the way,
yep.
It was high powered. This wasn't like a thing where they had to work it up.
Mm-hmm.
They went full throttle the entire fucking time, right? The match ends finally. The Warrior is like, okay, and Sherry comes in, she's beside herself.
Yeah.
Beside herself.
Going fuck macho.
Right? Buck nutty. I like that.
Yeah.
Going buck nutty, and then here comes Liz. Savage is half asleep though, still. Savage has no idea that Liz, not only did Liz come in, but she made the save out Scary Sherry, right?
Yep.
But now it's like, and then when Savage just wake up, what are you doing here? Like pointing her, and the ref's like, no, and now like the ref is even the ref at this point, the ref should have been fucking packing his bag, heading back to the hotel.
He's holding back Sherry. And
yeah, the ref was like, I think it was probably was
the twins. I think it was Dave.
Right, but it was like even he got into it. It was like, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, you did this for me.
Yeah,
Liz is crying.
That all of a sudden, like the crowd, it's like the crowd.
Dude, they panned the camera. No one and Heenan, God bless him, man.
Yeah.
God bless Bobby Heenan. He's like, Monsoon, there's nobody. You had 16,000 people on their fucking feet. The last time I saw that with a Warrior match was when he won the IC title at SummerSlam in '88.
Yeah.
No one's except for me bending down, getting my soda, and the match was over. Right? But dude, like girls are crying, kids were like crying, and you're like, wow.
Waiting because everybody wanted to see that hug. Everybody knew at this point.
Yeah.
And
since the mega powers split.
And like you said, at that moment, like you said, the crowd was just they were at the edge of their seats. And even like, so now I'm going to, I'm watching it at home now. My stepson's watching it now. I got Tabor watching it, and I'm like, watch this. And same thing. Tabor doesn't know about this storyline, and she's as soon as the hug, instant fucking feels. She's tearing up. I'm tearing up. It was a fucking great thing because it really is a great story.
When I got choked, the ropes for her.
Yeah.
Because that was a thing. The gimmick.
Yes.
She always did that for him.
Yep.
So when he did it for her, I was like, oh.
It was a true babyface.
Yes,
turn.
And it was like, and he just went from being in the world in the most loved
and
losing the fucking match.
Yep.
He's retired.
Yeah,
and he was more over than everybody else in the fucking on the card.
And like I said, and then to me, it puts a in one of he's one of the greatest workers.
100%.
Professional wrestlers in the case of how to tell a story, how to get it across, how to make your opponent look great. To me, he has to be on your Mount Rushmore.
I'll ask you a question, and I should be asking this to Choppy, but he's on location because this is Choppy's favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
If you were to show somebody a Macho Man match to get him into, do you show him as that, or do you wait a little while before that and show him in Steamboat or him in Santana, him and anybody at that point? Honky Tonk Man. That's hard, right?
One.
That's a good question. We'll have to wait for Choppy to answer that.
I mean, listen, to get the full 360-degree image of Macho Man, how do you not show him? With the promos leading in, little backstory. I don't know. How do you not show him this one? I think that's a great question. Yeah, I think this one.
All right. We're backed up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Your next match was Tenryu and Kateo from New Japan Pro Wrestling against Demolition, Crush, and Smash. Accessory on the bender at this point.
Yeah,
on the mender, whatever on the mender it would say. We all Tenryu is former NWA 6-man tag team champion with the Road Warriors, a legend in Japan. Kateo actually was a sumo wrestler. He was the 60th of and he won like one match in Japan against Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yes.
So his career didn't last long. He went into mixed martial arts and all that other shit.
He's the famous guy that fought Tenta and went super shoot in a match where, and then afterwards he went on the mic and said on how wrestling's fake. So he's a very not like guy.
And Tenryu was the conduit because he had the SMA promotion where it was, and then he had SWS. I'm sorry, and then he had the War promotion.
Yep.
And hard for them like 2 years, 3 years later.
And then, like you said, and that was the card where Earthquake and Katao, and like you said, Katao in this match, you could see
he's not very good.
You could see a few moments where he's not selling, and like Dawson, who I'm going to start. I'm
put the fucking boots to him.
I'm gonna start naming him with that promo in the beginning. Dasso reminds me of a guy that is a social media guy who does all these different faces because he needs to get the right selfie. Like
Rush Limbaugh.
He just like constantly always surprised by something. Like he's always just constantly doing his face.
Just like that. Yeah, I gotcha.
So. But at one point it looked like Dasso laid some shit. It's like, you're not selling? All right, we'll see.
And I'm not a big Crush fan, but Crush was Japan trained as well.
Yeah.
And he was trained by some heavy duties.
He was trained by wasn't he trained by oh my god, I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah.
Not Saito. The guy that trained
Hiro Matsuda.
Yeah, Matsuda.
Yeah, Matsuda, yeah. But they won this match in like less than 5 minutes. So
because I think the Warrior Macho match went a little long, so they started trimming fat.
But see, now the next match was for the IC title. Boss Man goes up against Mr. Perfect. This was almost 11 minutes long. But the reason why I went so long was because Andre.
Yeah.
Andre's now face again.
How do you not? Well, like I said, Andre at this point was, he showed up, fucking Herb Abrams UWF. Months prior. So McMahon had to get him back, and it's a shame he couldn't even get into the ring to raise Boss Man's hand. Like he was hanging on to the side. Like,
yeah,
dude, it was
rough.
It was rough seeing
this
it.
Right before he died 2 years later.
Yeah, so it was rough seeing him. It was great seeing like I said, you talk about the death toll in this match, but
Boss Man, Andre, Perfect. I mentioned Bobby.
I wish we could. I'm kind of glad, Mr. Perfect won. To me, he is the epitome of a IC champion. But I wouldn't mind seeing a nice Boss Man IC run. This would have been. But God, two great workers too. Boss Man and Kurt.
Boss Man was
Hennig.
thin. Boss Man was like he was trimmed out. It wasn't as big as he was. He lost a lot of weight. He looked good, man.
Quick as fuck in that ring.
He was 400 pounds. He was big.
He is so good in this match. But
like I was always a fan of the Big Boss Man.
It's it's a shame to see, but Andre was in pain at this point. Wasn't getting the surgery he needed, and just
Next time you see my son, ask him to sing. He knows all the words of the Boss Man song. And he's been singing it since he's 3 years old. I don't even know all the words. He knows all the words.
Amazing.
Earthquake, a squash match, basically. Earthquake.
Oh, poor Valentine, huh?
Yeah, well, and it 3 minutes went 1 minute and a half, actually.
Yeah.
This
next one was another one. It was a goddamn squash match. Like they were trimming the fat.
This was 59 a minute.
This needed to be longer.
Yeah.
Power and Glory against Legion of Doom needed to be fucking longer. I am sorry. Like you could have taken time off of DiBiase versus fucking Virgil.
Oh yeah.
You could have given this time, especially you have the Legion
59
of Doom
seconds
coming in, supposed to be fucking coming in hot, and you give them a minute. And this is and I'm not even getting into Power and Glory because their matches were always good.
Yeah,
this could have been
Power and Glory.
This could have been a good fucking match.
Oh no, 100%.
And like you said, I mean, granted, listen, I know, this is the start of like, the paydays.
Basically showcasing the LOD to go up against the Nasty Boys.
Yeah.
So I get it, but still, I agree. It could have been at least 4 minutes, 5 minutes. But now you have, and Virgil beating Ted DiBiase was a fucking farce. Virgil was awful, but it tells a story.
It tells the story, and like I said, what are you gonna do? You gonna tell Piper he can't have fucking time? Like that? Even the shit after. I hated this fucking.
But it's shit booking because the next match after that, Jimmy Hart had worked a lot this night.
Oh yeah,
the Mountie beat Santana in a minute and a half.
It's like and especially you got Tito Santana, who's once again just I'm not saying what he accomplished in the business, but like just work wise, Tito Santana on this card, and you're gonna give him a minute and a half. What have you, but like Ted DiBiase and Virgil get 7-8 minutes, and then that stupid shit with Piper after the match. God,
Piper was his mentor and whatever, right?
God, it made me want to fucking vomit. This is what took away from the grade. All you needed was Macho against fucking Warrior. You get a palate cleanser. Boss Man against Kurt Hennig, Palazza, Hogan against Slaughter at the end. Guess what? I just saved you 45 fucking minutes.
Jay, in effect.
Fucking, like I said, you didn't need. I understand you're telling a story with Virgil and but what have you.
Good point, Shaylin. Their match at SummerSlam was better than this match.
Far better.
Yeah, I agree.
The fact that you even keep it,
Shaylin.
yeah, that's
good
a great
point.
point. It's the fact that you even kept it going at that point was even, something.
Exactly.
So, like I said, it gets down to and finally we get to the main event, and I tell you, great fucking promos by Slaughter.
Yeah.
Especially with the camera, zooming in. Slaughter, if he's telling the story, how, it's like the famous fishing story. You go out, you catch a fish that's 6 inches, and by the time you tell the story for the 5th time, it's fucking 3 feet long. Slaughter tells the story how his family was getting death threats or whatever. Like, I can kind of believe that, but like I said, wrestlers folklore, they're always. But man, you could see the heat.
Of course.
You could see the heat.
Dude, the country was in disarray, man. We were at war. We would the Middle East was becoming a parking lot.
Yep.
And this was pre 9/11, obviously. And it was like, dude, I remember just being a kid being like, between Rodney King and like fucking the shit in my neighborhood, like fighting for my sneakers on the platform, going to school in East New York, Brooklyn. Like half my school, I went to a high school where half my high school was in Queens and half part of Brooklyn. That building was that big, right? And I just remember just all the city was like, Dinkins was the fucking mayor. He was awful. But like the city was like in transition, like even hip hop sucked.
Yep.
Wu-Tang didn't come out yet, and Biggie was not out yet, and Jay and all them. It was like it wasn't just a New York itself. The country was in disarray. I mean, Bush was the president. If you're not a Republican, and people, it's Bush's fault. It wasn't Bush's fault. He was in bed with the fucking with the Arabian people forever. He was having barbecues with them.
Yeah.
Okay. I digress. The thing was, though, it was such a weird time. This was perfect timing for Vince to capitalize on this.
Yes,
to bring Hogan back into as the main event guy, to give Hogan one more fucking run, because that's basically what he's good for at this point.
I agree with that. Like I said, this is where one of those moments where, I think, I forget what year it was. 05, 06, somewhere around there. Muhammad Hassan, they had the terrorist attacks in France, I think it was. And it was insinuated. It wasn't that they were terrorists. These guys, masked men, came up and attacked the Undertaker, and they did the AA sign on his neck, and they that just, I believe that just happened to happen at the same time. It was a coincidence. You can make the argument, you know, you're just taking a little bit off real life and inserting it into art, like it happens all the time. That is poor taste. And once again, even though it's a coincidence, still doesn't deny that it's poor taste. This is different though. I look at this in a different light. I think this is it's your natural good versus evil story.
This is Yeah, I'm sorry.
And like exactly, and this is exactly what it's supposed to be. You know, evil comes in, they're on top, and then good always has to prevail. And you know, obviously Hogan must pose, but you know, but good always has to prevail at the end. And this is a great story. And the match in and of itself is good. You know, Slaughter at this point is got to be in his early 40s at this point, and he could still work.
This was reminiscent of World War II and, you know, Marvel Comics making Captain America Nazis. You know, like that you know, it was like it was us against them, that kind of thing. And I just remember being just a rough time. My uncle was he went to Desert Storm. He's 3-4 years older than me, but it was just a weird time. You know what I'm saying? It was just, and high school was really rough. And hip hop doesn't suck, Jay. You just didn't have enough hip hop in the cornfields of Iowa. You didn't have any good hip hop, I should say. And I'm just a metalhead as you are. I like everything. I like everything except for country music, fucking hillbilly shit. But I digress. The the story is as savage and warrior, but for the time, the mainstream country needed it like a morale booster.
Yep,
like we're still number one.
Just a reminder, like we can do this. Like you know, like the Rocky. If I could change, you know,
we all could change. Yeah,
you know, but to talk about the match. God, slow, such a great heel, especially in this match.
Yeah, he was slow enough for Hogan.
Yeah, perfect.
Bottom line,
you know. And I remember seeing it as a kid, and I used to watch this match. I think this was on, I forget which Coliseum video. It was either WrestleMania's greatest matches or Hulk Hogan's greatest matches.
Hulk Hogan had like 4 different Hulkamania best ofs.
And I remember
Coliseum wise.
I remember seeing this match and you know when Hogan fucking blades himself, I tell you, man, he
was a good showman. Yeah,
he was a great. He knew it. He knew where to be. So now it's great to look at this stuff now and to look for it. You could see Hogan fucking zip himself. He places it on the mat right in front of Earl Hebner, and Hebner goes down for the count and puts his left hand over the fucking gimmick. Counts, you know, Hogan kicks out.
It's a good ref.
Great. Just it's to see how, like I said, sometimes to see when the sausage is made, you don't like it. That stuff I like seeing because you could see how they're all working together.
Yeah, because you're seeing it through different eyes now.
Yeah,
too.
And it and listen, say what you want about Hogan, man. You know, but there was nobody that did it like him.
He's not my cup of tea, but he's the reason why we're doing all this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, let's be honest. I mean, if it wasn't him, you wouldn't have the, fight. Even though he could wrestle circles around most of the guys that we're talking about, was the man. Hogan did everything that he was supposed to do, and he basically transcended the business into what it is today. And Vince Cap.
To see, you know, it's like I said, especially at this time, you got to insert yourself in this time, and that's what's kind of cool about doing these nostalgic throwbacks, and like you get a chance to insert yourself in that time period. And like you said, there is no way, like you gotta have good triumph over evil, and because you're telling that story.
Yeah, you have to.
You know, and they did a great job even at Royal Rumble, always shouting out to the troops and everything.
You only had, and at the time you only had syndicated weekly shows. It wasn't like you were really, and you had to tell these stories.
Yeah.
And you know, you didn't have fucking Raw, Nitro, SmackDown. That stuff didn't happen for another couple of years. But you know, when you're doing this, you do it right. You know,
this was it, and this was a great match. And like I said, Hogan, this was his 4th championship, at the time, and now that was a record in and of itself. You know, so like I said, overall, I mean, this was a great show. action packed. You could have trimmed the fat a little bit. Obviously, just being nitpicky. I like to see some other things happen. I mean, overall, if I gave it a grade, this was an A-.
A-, yeah, 100%.
A- all day.
100%.
And this was when, but you could see the future not looking so bright for the company because, like I said, how many times are you going to go back to Hogan? How many times are you going to go back and how it happened? And I loved it. I love this show.
All right. Before we go, I want to quickly go through the brackets for the third round.
Yep.
All right. Your third round matches in the LOD region, which is going to be
Chicago.
It was Chicago. Now it's I think I had it written down. Anyway, third round. This is the Rock and Roll Express. It's going to happen. You want me to say who won the second round, or you want me to do that?
No, just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Edge and Christian versus the Fantastics.
Beautiful.
I love that. The Freebirds against the Gorillas of Destiny.
Thank God the Freebirds won.
The Lucha Brothers against FTR, which probably happened already. In the Dudley brackets, you ready for this? Dudleys versus the Young Bucks.
There we go.
Versus the Hollywood Blondes.
There we go.
Foundation versus Demolition.
Oh.
And Anderson and Blanchard against Hanson and Gordy.
Oh man.
I'm having fucking Facebook. I'll try to post the next round.
The Miracle Violence connection against the Hollywood. I'm surprised the Hollywood Blondes have made it this far.
Me too.
I liked them in the first round. You can't, although listen, you got arguably the greatest character, Stone Cold, in there. I mean, that holds some weight, but yeah, my dark horse is in there. FTR, baby. FTR holding strong. Tully and
I want to see how the Young Bucks do against the Dudleys. I want to see how the fans react to that. I think it's
Young Bucks.
I mean,
listen, we got more old school fans than new school.
I want to see it because we've got a lot of Dudley fans too, though.
Yeah. So it can we can see the first big upset.
Yeah. Anything else before we go?
I think that's it, pal. Cobb County.
That's right.
Love this.
Doing hard time, baby. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Throwbacks. Mott Spock, you fuck, working at Miller Park tonight, listening in.
Oh yeah.
I'm so jealous he gets to work in a baseball field. Anyway, you guys, really just be good people. Take care of yourself, each other. Avoid the clap. Don't get arrested. Don't be a racist. Don't be a jerk off like Choppy. And just be a good fucking soul, man.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's pretty much it. Jay, anything else?
That's it, pal.
All right, so guys, take care of yourselves. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And don't serve any hard time. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Serving hard times. He carries a big stick